Hello and welcome back to this edition of Daily Actives brought to you by Bootleg Macro. I'm Dustin. We are looking at AMD, and out of all the stocks that I could have looked at today, this is the one that's the most interesting to me. And I'll say this why, because even though it's the most active stock, you can see that 47 million shares traded today. And even though it's one of those stocks that everybody loves to talk about because it's in the semiconductor space, what's really fascinating to me is how this price chart has worked out because we've seen a major move, essentially a very elongated move. After we saw this move up in May, we've seen a very elongated move to the side. We've seen essentially 100 hold. So 100 is the level that we want to respect. We could essentially use that as a stop. We've seen 109 come into play. And now we are back up above our 5-day moving average for the first time in a while here. It looks like we're back up above it, where the 5-day moving average is back up above the 23-day moving average. We're back up above the 5-day moving average naturally. And now we're back up above the 23-day moving average as well. Now, when we look at the overall volume, we haven't seen a huge spike in anything. We've seen a little bit of price movement upwards. We do see that we have another price to rise as we're looking forward. But what I'm really curious about is with this change in terms of it being down 1.34% or 1.35% today and it being up on the 5-day, but it's still negative on the 15-day, the 1 month, the 3 month, and now we have a go long in the short term. We have lost the go short signal in the short term. We still have it in the intermediate term, and we don't have it in the longer term. We are bullish on the short term and intermediate term, but what most important to me on my signals is this bearishness in the longer term. And I always look at it from the perspective we want to see two bearish in a row before we believe that it's changed, because obviously this was quite a bullish period. We haven't been able to flip back. We haven't seen any change in this actually becoming bullish. When we look at the rolling sentiment, this is a gauge here. This is a graph essentially that shows you the 2-day rolling bullish sentiment. We haven't seen this thing actually convincingly go bullish. It hasn't gone back up above 60% in any reasonable period of time. I mean, the only time it did that was back here in June, and that was the beginning of the end. We've essentially been around this 50% level. It's like things have gone essentially anemic inside of AMD. We got ourselves a sell signal. When we look at our trading signal, that was on the 30th of August. We've got big bears, we've got small bears. Yes, we're going to have 3 of the bull key 3, but that doesn't mean anything to me when you actually look at the overall trend. We look at it, and excuse me, before I even finish this, what we're going to do is we're actually just going to update this just so you can understand. And I know this, most of the time, most people are like, oh, how do you get your data? This is exactly how you get it. You can look at the formula right there, and you can pull Google Finance data if you want. It's about if you can build the additional indicators and the understanding of how markets actually operate for you to be able to get an understanding. See, like now we get the data. But returning back to the daily chart, I'm not sure if this is going to be a great move or not. I'm not sure if this is going to be the move upwards that I really want to see, because we need to break this 120. We need to break 115. We need to break friggin' 110. I just don't know if we can necessarily do it, because if I go back to this dashboard, right, we're at 109. The top of the range is at 109.87. And if you look at this, it's essentially been waving around. This price has been waving around the 15-day moving average for a long time. The top of the range is slightly bullish now. Yeah, it's at 117. The bottom of the range has come up to what, $97. But the price does not look like it wants to leave that 110 to 100 level. Looks like it just wants to get chopped up here forever. When we look at the daily sentiment, we don't see anything convincing. We look at the daily volume, we don't see anything convincing. We're not even breaking above the 15-day moving average today. We can see in the volatility looks weird too. The volatility is starting to fall while the correlation is starting to rise. If the correlation is rising, the volatility is falling to price, that means that we're going to go down, and we're going to go down quickly. Actually, not quickly. We're going to go down very orderly and very convincingly. You can see the top of the range is coming down here, right? We're at 117 at the very top of the range. We're at 109 at this point. I just don't see that we're going to get a humongous move here. The bottom of the range is at 98. If we look at the weekly range for AMD is the top of the range is at 136. The bottom is coming up to 79. It's still in the middle. There's really no reason or catalyst for this thing to move. I don't know if there's earnings. I don't know if there's something that's going to come out. Maybe there could be a big move in the world when it comes to semiconductors in Taiwan. I don't know. But right now, all I can say is that what the data is telling me about AMD is avoid it. And the reason why it's avoided is because it's not going anywhere. It's not even convincingly moving around 50%, right? It's not even leaving the 50% range. We're staying at 48, 49, 50, 51, 52. Like here was an extreme period. We're at 53.8 back in August 2nd. That was the most convincingly bullish period of time that we have looking back 30 days. That is not good. But tell me what you think in the comments below. Are you long? Are you short? Do you like it? Do you love it? Is this even a good review? And before you go, subscribe to the New High newsletter. We give you 25 stocks to your inbox every single Sunday. We give you stocks between $5 and $20. We give you stocks breaking out to 1-year highs and all-time highs. It is a great list to review on a Sunday morning when you're looking at what to do in the stock market the next week. But I will talk to you soon.